together.
So just keep thinking a little bit, always shoulder 4, making sure you're really feeling that ability to push that inside hind toward the outside rein, but without letting him deviate the haunches anywhere. Now, I also want you to make some transitions from trot to walk, back to trot, feeling a little bit that shoulder 4 feeling. That in that transition, you can push that inside hind under, and then back to trot. Good. And then we'll do the same thing in canter to trot. And that's the transitions are a little bit more just to test your half halt, to make sure that when you do make that half halt, you feel that everything stays in alignment like that, that he doesn't get wiggly anywhere. Good job. Go ahead, change directions. When you go to the right, just a little bit thinking sometimes about that left shoulder. Sometimes maybe you have to do a little outside flexion just to keep that outside shoulder lined up. But he's still working with that right hind coming toward the left. So that inside leg, outside rein kind of means we're taking the legs, which are in 4 corners like a little red wagon, and we're pushing the inside hind to the left, and we're bringing the outside shoulder to the right. So we're kind of like taking those roller skate wheels and making an inline skate blade. So we're actually taking away the horse's stability and we're increasing the mobility. And that's why they keep trying to get crooked on us, because they don't like to be mobile, they like to be stable. Good. But for us to transfer weight back to those hind legs, we have to have all those legs on the same line, and then it's a little bit like we have a bicycle that we're taking the wheels off and creating a unicycle. Like a Grand Prix, a unicycle is very precarious. The balance is precarious. But we can do some really cool stuff with it. Meanwhile, the horse is like, don't want to do cool stuff. Want to eat grass in the fields. Good. Now try the same idea in trot canter. So the same idea that when you make the transition back to trot, that you're able to keep that alignment and feel like you're pushing the inside hind under over toward the outside rein. So the first stride of trot is on the right hind. Yeah. Good. 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 So the transition starts to feel really like you feel him lower behind and not stiffen his back, and that there's none of that kind of abrupt feeling in the transition. Like that. See, that was kind of in the wrong timing. That's a little bit, you have to really think of the timing of your half halt. That it has to be when the inside hind's coming under, and that's when you hold him on that hind leg. Same thing, he has to let you make that transition. Yeah, good. Change directions and try some canter trot the other way. Good job. Yeah, good job. Good. Keep feeling when that left hind is on the ground, and then you bring it back to trot. Okay. You tried. I think your timing was good. I think you just didn't answer the moment you asked. You're a little bit try to wiggle out of it a bit. Good, yeah. A little bit clever. Keep the shoulder forward, don't let it move the haunches to the left. There, that was it. Good job, super. There you really got the left hind under the body, super. Good, good, good. Okay. Yep. So that's just something to keep working on. Thinking a little bit about where all the legs are. Now we're going to walk, and you want to make sure that that left hind really good. No, that was the wrong hind. That was the urge. Feel him settle and lower onto the left hind in the walk. Yes, beautiful. See, did you feel how it was trot, trot, walk, walk? Big, big steps. It's going to feel the same way when you go canter to walk. All right?
When I started out with a guy from Spanish riding school, and they are very
much into knowing where all the legs are at the same time. You have to know which foot's on the ground, where they are. And there's so much, nobody teaches that anymore. Nobody worries about that anymore. And I think it's so important. It's like, well, how do you know when to make your transition? So, really think about that now a little bit more. Elliot, and for all of your transitions, up and down, you can't just like half halt and do it. I want you to think of your half halt and then the timing of when to do it. Make sense? Okay. All right, now just think about walking a square. Start with your shoulder forward. Before you turn, take a little bit of outside rein to keep him on the left hind and then turn. You saw a little bit what we did with the baby horse? Yeah. Okay, this is a little bit more sophisticated, but it's the same idea that you feel where the hind leg is, and then you use the outside rein to say, whoa, slow down, and then you give a turning aid. That's exactly right. Perfect. Now add maybe one or two more steps. Keep him there, and turn, and turn, and turn. Good, and leave. Super. So you just need to feel, you've got the idea, you just need to feel the timing a little bit more of when to use the outside rein. It's like you have to say, whoa, turn, relax, whoa, turn, relax, whoa, 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 and move. There you go, good. It's like, okay, you did one too many whoas. But does that make sense? I think in your, because he was sticking, you said the problem was he was sticking a lot? Yeah. Yeah. So I think because he was sticking, you now feel like you have to create speed. But then the problem is, he's not staying on the hind leg long enough for you to make the turn for the shoulders. So if you just think a little bit about where the legs are, and then a little hold him, and then turn, and then let go. That moment you let go is when he can step again. But then you have to hold again or it gets too big. Yeah? Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Uh-huh. This is so much better than yesterday. Good. Did you have nightmares about those last night? But you see, you've got a really good feeling now to the left. And so then you just start to add a stride or two more until you have your half. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There. See? Yes. Good. Now same thing to the right. The right was the trickier one because you were pushing him too much sideways. So I understand you have to make sure that that left leg that he can't push left. Yeah, I understand that. But the trick is not overcompensating and pushing the right hind too much to the right, because then it's way too big. And then he gets too much down on his left shoulder. So if you think, same thing we talked about earlier, that the right hind and the left shoulder stay more on the same line of travel. Yeah, right hind and left front. Stay a little bit more on the same line, so that he doesn't get in not too much right bend. That's it. There, yep. It's really not so much about the right hind as it is that the left shoulder goes down. There, yes, that was lovely. See, if you keep that left shoulder up, it's easier to turn it. And then think step, 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 step. Yeah, there. Good. Make sure you're also thinking that direction. You have that moment to let go. If you stay and hold him too long, or if it gets too fast, it becomes a little bit lateral. Does that make sense? So better that it's a little slower and still feeling that 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you turn, give, turn, give, turn, give. Yes. A little teeny bit of right bend, no more than that. What you have there is perfect. Good. Big pat. Super. Yay. I think you understand it. Please say yes. I understand. Lie to me, Elliot. It's okay. Good.
Is there a difference between that and then the walk pirouettes that are up in like St. George? Like, do I have to keep improving that?
No, I mean, right now, the size you have is basically okay for St. George, too. You know, the whole idea, it's so much, the size is the last thing.
Okay. Same thing with the canter pirouette. What we're really thinking about is really the control. You know, canter and walk. Can the rider control the walk and really feel like they're turning, and not that the horse is turning, or that the horse is out here on the shoulder and you're like, I can't get you to turn. So in the canter, it's the same thing, that if we think of a canter pirouette, that is like a pie, and I take one of those metal things from House of Pies, and I put it into the pie, so every piece is exactly the same size, so that every canter stride is exactly the same size. Yeah, see, at my house, here's my husband's piece, here's my piece. That would not be a good score.
Right.
Okay.
So we have to have the control that we feel that the rider can control the canter stride and then allow it to turn. Control the stride, then allow it to turn.
I see.
So that each stride's finished. And it's not like canter stride's half finished.
Okay.
All right, so that's where you have to feel that there's two pieces to this. It's yes, the hind legs, but it's also the lightness and the mobility of the shoulders. All right, so that you have the ability, whether you're in walk or canter, to keep the shoulders light and turning around the hind leg.
Okay.
Okay, so sometimes when you get this too fast, then he can't really turn that fast because it's like two circles. You know, the smaller circle here and the bigger circle here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
if this is too fast, this bit has to be on the bigger circle. So this almost has to be a little slower and stay for a moment longer, so the bigger circle can come around.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You know, so there's so many different pieces that kind of the size is the very last thing.
Right. Okay.
Because the Spanish horses internationally do some very, very small canter pirouettes, but they're no more than a 7.75 because the horse isn't really sitting enough.
Right.
They have sort of this rear around system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, okay, it's small, but we still don't like it.
Okay.
So when we look at Glamourdale's pirouettes,
Mm-hmm.
they're a little bit big. That's why they're not a 10
Oh, okay.
or a 9. But the quality of the canter is fabulous. The sitting is fabulous. The control is fabulous. So they're still 8s. Can she
But he's
make
moving too much in each stride of the
a
canter?
little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But he's such a big canter.
Right.
So can she make them smaller? Maybe as he gets stronger and older. But still an 8's okay. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes when you make them too small, like Vamos Amigos's are smaller,
Mm-hmm.
but to me the canter is very sort of mechanical looking.
Okay.
And
You
stiff.
lose the quality of the gait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's a little stiff and sort of ugh. So, okay, then the size, you're going to give that a huge score because it's small, but the canter's not very good. So, you know, you've got all these different pieces, and this is where every horse is just a little bit different. We know what a 10 is, we know what the ideal is, but even in your piaffe, horses have little different techniques.
Right.
And if you think of Verdades, he always was out behind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The rhythm was always good. It was always 1, 2, 1, 2. And the transitions could be 9s because he never changed them. They couldn't be 10s because he wasn't sitting enough in the piaffe.
Right.
But he never changed the rhythm.
Yeah.
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 But he wasn't under enough. But if you tried to force him to go more under, he leapt through the air.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, but that was his technique a little bit.
Yeah.
Rembrandt, the old horse, he also had a very rhythmical piaffe, but he never took weight. You look at Delara, she sits.
Yeah.
You can really see the sitting. So she has more the classical piaffe. So she's the 10, 10, 10
Yeah.
when she goes through there.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, you have to a little bit say, okay,